Worms 3D is a very, very important game to me. I get that it's a game a lot of people probably wouldn't give a shit about, but for me, this is one of the first games that I ever played. I probably put thousands of hours into it, and even though I might be a tiny bit biased, I do think it's a genuinely fucking great game. For me at least, this is the peak of the Worms franchise. It's something else. Now, I'm not here to sell you Worms 3D. There wouldn't be much point to doing that, because neither is Team 17, unfortunately. What I want to talk about today is one little specific thing that really fucking bugged me about this game when I was younger. See, Worms 3D had a pretty great single-player campaign, but obviously the main draw of the game is playing the game's multiplayer, either with other people, CPUs, or just, exploring the game's various maps for yourself, just kind of goofing around. Maybe that's a bit weird, but, Little 8-year-old me ate that up. Now on a fresh save of Worms 3D, you only have 4 maps available to you in the game's multiplayer mode, but as you progress through the game's single player, like the tutorial and campaign, you'll unlock significantly more maps to play on. However, you won't unlock all of them. Worms 3D features 18 maps that are completely exclusive to the game's single player modes. That means you can't really play them on your own terms. You can obviously play the missions that these maps were designed for, but you usually have a pretty limited set of tools in those missions, and obviously you can only play versus the computer or by yourself depending on what the mission wants. You don't have the option of just, having 2 human teams and either playing a friend or exploring these maps for yourself. So today I wanted to take a look at Worms 3D's illegal levels. The maps that, for some reason, we weren't allowed the privilege of fucking about on. You hate to see it. Like I mentioned earlier, the game features 18 maps that fit this description. However, there are also 3 named unused maps in the game's data, and I'll also cover those. There are more than 3 unused maps, but they're either not named or they're just they're just not as interesting, right? They're mainly there for testing purposes, debug purposes, and there's 2 that are left over from an E3 demo. They're just not very interesting. So, with all that out the way, let's take a look at Worms 3D's illegal levels. So, even if you've never played this game, but you've been watching my channel for a while, you might recognize this one. This is Down in the Dumps. This is the second tutorial level. It's the only one of the 6 tutorial levels that isn't unlockable in multiplayer. And yeah, I've talked about this one already. This one drove me fucking demented when I was younger. Nothing about it seems that egregious, honestly. I can totally get why it's not unlockable. The main thing is this big ass gap, right? This is the main issue. If you were on this, because here's the thing. The tutorial mission that this level was designed for, you don't have access to any, movement utilities, right? So, you wouldn't be able to you'd never be able to get to this second island. And if you were playing in a way where you just couldn't do that, you got a bit of a fucking problem. On top of this big gap between the 2 islands, there's also the fact that, it's very easy to just camp and hide out behind these cars. I wonder if that's a missing texture, or is that just meant to be a missing headlight? I don't know. But, I could see games on this map going on forever if you don't have the right, means of mobility to get back and forth. It's also pretty small, all things considered. That number plate is definitely a reference to something. Absolutely. But yeah. So overall, I get it. I get not making this playable. So yeah. Also, just for the record, I'm going to be, ranking all of these maps. And how I'm going to be doing that is we're going to use a scale of 1 to 5 on the old iconic wormometer, right? So a 1 out of 5 implies that I see completely eye to eye with an unnamed British game dev from the early 2000s. Yep, I totally get what you're playing at here, makes perfect sense. This is a map which I should have no business playing on my own terms. And a 5 out of 5 would be hey, what the fuck are you playing at? Nothing wrong with this level, why can't I play it? That's fucking stupid. And in this case, I think I'm gonna have to go with a 2 out of 5. It's a little bit silly. This gap is a big issue, the level's quite small, there's a lot of places to just hide out and camp. So as much as it pains me to admit, I get it. This level is relatively silly, and I can totally understand why I can't play on it. Die. So next up we have Rum Deal, and this might be a bit of a weird angle, but yeah, I am currently in a squid, which is pretty fucking crazy. This is a very, very small map. If you play this map in the campaign, I believe there's actually more barrels than there are here. I think they just blow up when you land on them, though. I'm not entirely sure about that, but, you know, maybe that's the case. The small size of this level, I think, is what ended up making it, like... I think that's why they decided to not let us play on it. Because it's very, very small, and the little bit of land that there is a bit weird. You've got this big-ass whale, you've got the teeny little boat, and then you've got all this... yeah, all this stuff. This is a bit weird. This is a bit peculiar. And also, you can get a good example of this here. If you have, like, random spawns on, so the worms randomly spawn at different points in the level, if you're on one of these barrels, you're probably fucked. Like, what are you supposed to do here? Like, that's just one of the freest kills you can get. Also, I should probably address this now. You might have noticed that the yellow team here has a bit of a, you know, 2016 CSGO-ass name. That's just a byproduct of me downloading a 100% save off the internet. Don't worry about it. You can't change team names. It's very unfortunate. You might have guessed that you can change the name of the worms, but yeah, it is what it is. So, for this level, honestly, 1 out of 5. I totally get it. I should not be allowed to fuck around on this level. It makes perfect sense. Out of curiosity, though, I gotta see what happens if I do this. That's fucked up. That's a hollow whale, I think. So, next up, we have In Space, No One Can Hear You Clean. And I'll be real with you. To me, this is one of the least interesting levels in the entire campaign. This is just so whatever. It's just a goofy-ass planet, some goofy-ass spaceships. It says a lot that even when I was a dumbass kid, this was one of, like, the only, like, inaccessible maps in terms of being able to play it in multiplayer that I just didn't give a single shit about. Just incredibly whatever map. But that being said, I don't think anything about it is like that egregious. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. Just don't care. Reach for that sky. Oh shit, I actually got him. Okay. Next up we have Falling For You, and the game is not giving a good first impression because I got very unlucky and spawned inside this fucking boat. We'll sort that out in a second. So this is an extremely simple level. It's just these 2 boats and a shit ton of planes, and I think the simplicity combined with how high up the planes are the primary factors in why this is inaccessible. I'm trying to use the jetpack to get all the way up, and you can see the jetpack kind of loses steam the higher you get up due to the altitude. So, like, there ain't no way you're getting up to that top plane without using a teleport, and, like, that uses up your turn, so it's kind of like shit, you know? That being said, the 2 boats that are here are pretty cool, and I don't know, I feel like it would maybe be fun to, like, shoot people down from the planes and stuff. Can I get him? No. Guess I'm ass, but still. Honestly, as simple as this one is, I don't think it's that egregious. If you had a few less planes at the top, like, the whole level was just a bit more accessible, I think this would be totally fine. But as is, I think I'm gonna have to go with a 3 out of 5. It's high 2, low 3, somewhere around there, but I'm gonna go with a 3 out of 5. It aight. So, I can tell you right now, if this list was, like, dictated entirely by 8-year-old me, this would be a 5 out of 5. I fucking love this map. This is Worm in the Beanstalk. You have no idea how badly I wanted to play regular-ass matches on this one. Something about it appealed so much to me, but at the same time, I totally get why it's not playable. The point of this mission in the campaign is to, like, you have 3 worms, and you have to get all 3 of them into this boat, but you also have to use the parachute to get a bunch of targets on the way down. It's very funny. The optimal strat is to just have 2 of the worms leap to their death and land in the boat, and then you just get all 15 targets with 1 worm. It's fucking great. But at the same time, I totally get why this isn't playable. The verticality of it all is the big thing. Like, I'm trying to use the jetpack, and it literally just doesn't, because of, like, how high up I am. Bro just sinks like a rock. Also, this, like, imagine trying to shoot people below you, right? If people hiding under leaves would be, like, extremely annoying. And also, another thing to consider, this weird cloud platform, I think it's a little difficult to tell what's, like, tangible and what isn't. But god, this map is so fucking cool. There's also just this entire, like, castle area, where there's, like, a golden egg, and there's just this room. And in the mission that this level was designed for, this is all just totally unused. Like, there's no reason to go back here. I love this level, I really do. I wish you could use it in just, like, regular-ass multiplayer matches. But realistically, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. It should really be a 1. But I can't help it. This shit is great. Boring. It's not boring, shut up. Also, I have to go on a little bit of a tangent with this, because there's something really fucking bizarre I found with this level, okay? So, there's this game called Ultra Minor Adventure, okay? And it's one of those piece of shit 3D platformers that just, like, shows up on Steam. It happens all the fucking time. However, I was watching a run of this game at Summer Games Done Quick 2018, and I couldn't help but notice that the 4th level of Ultra Minor Adventure is Worm and the Beanstalk. It's the exact same model, just ripped from the fucking game. Which is just so bizarre to me. There's apparently a lot of stolen shit in this game. There's a level from Spyro in there somewhere. And the map screen is ripped straight from a game called Magic Match, Journey to the Lands of Arcane, that I played a shit ton of when I was a bab. But, yeah. Very sneaky. Thought they'd get away with that. Nope. Oh boy, where do I even fucking start with this one? Okay, this one is a quick fix. It is the 21st level of the campaign, and I have a bad history with this one. When I was a kid, I got stuck on this one for about 2 years. It fucked this map, honestly. But I can tell you right now, I can totally get why we're not allowed to use this map in multiplayer, and you'll figure out why the second I press E to get, like, the bird's eye view. Can't just do that. So, if I go get a bird's eye view, you'll notice this level is, like, contained in just a cube, an iconic worm cube, which is unlike pretty much every other level in the game. And this causes all sorts of problems. One thing that's a little bizarre, for a start, even if you have indestructible terrain turned off, you can't blow up the walls. So there's just no escape. And this ties into another issue with this level. If you're playing with the setting where instead of just having the worms randomly spawn throughout the level, you teleport them in, you get to pick where they start, you can literally only go on the fucking roof. This is it. This is the level. This is all it is. And like I showed earlier, you can't, like, the outside is indestructible, so it's just like, shit, what do you do? You can't access the cube. So in my opinion, this one is a 1 out of 5. Straight 1 out of 5. I have no business here. I should not... in no universe should I be allowed to play on this, outside of the mission it was designed for. So not only does it get a 1 out of 5, but I'm giving this level the Golden Worm Award, for out of every level in the game, being the one that I have the least business fucking about on. So, yeah. Okay, so next up we have Trial of the Damned, which is pretty fucked up. I didn't know you could say damn in a PEGI 3 game. There's a noose over there, and a guillotine. There's also the Grim Reaper, and an assortment of skulls. This is not very child-friendly at all. I'll tell you what is child-friendly though, this level design, because I think this is totally fine, but for some reason can't play on it in multiplayer. I don't really see what the problem here is. Like, the main purpose of this mission was to be like an obstacle course. But I don't know, it doesn't seem that hard to traverse. This just seems totally fine. I don't see anything that egregious. You know what? I nearly gave this level a 4 out of 5. But I'm very glad I didn't, because I noticed something. Because of how high up this level is, the fucking jetpack don't work. You fall like a brick. No help at all. Oh, you see? Bro is deceased. Bro is deceased. Yeah, let's call that a 2 out of 5. This is Hook, Line, and Skimmer. And if I remember right, the purpose of this mission was to, like, teach you how you could, like, skim bazooka shots across the water to hit these barrels. I gotta be real, this is totally fine. This is actually really cool. I really like the layout of this map. There are pretty clearly some pretty significant gaps between these islands, but I think this middle island here with all the rocks and the arches, I think that really ties everything together. I like the funny heads, it's very cool. But honestly, I don't really see the issue with this. You know, I think just because there is that gap, like there are pretty substantial gaps that without the right tools you couldn't really cross it. I think I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 5, but for the record, this map is sick. I should have been allowed to play on it. Seems pretty cool. Next up we have Too Boldly Go. And yes, this is the entire level. This was, without a doubt, one of the least memorable levels in the campaign. Which is pretty fucking crazy, because it had like a completely unique mechanic, where like the water rose in real time, not just like at the end of every turn. And you had to like beat the water to the top and collect a crate that was in the space shuttle. But still, this was just such a whatever level. It's very small, very vertically orientated, which is usually like a no-go, but when it comes to whether these levels are allowed in multiplayer or not. You know what, I was leaning towards like a 2 out of 5, but I think I'm gonna give it a 1, just because I really think it sucks. Fuck this level. Next up we have Beautiful Balloon, and you'll have to forgive me a little bit, I blew up one of the planes by accident. Sorry, my bad, just a little bit of a goof, won't happen again. But yeah, this is a super basic level, and I can kind of see why we're not allowed to do our own thing with it. The point of this is that like all your worms were on these balloons, and you had to shoot down all the planes, which clearly I've already done a pretty good job at, but on top of that, the water would rise at the end of every turn to simulate your ships running out of fuel. It was like whatever, I was really bad at it. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. Yeah, 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. Very 2 out of 5 feeling. And next we have the 10th and last of the campaign exclusive maps, and that's Beefcake Breakfast Brawl. This isn't a very good bird's eye view. As you can see, it kind of takes place in a house. So like the same issue as Quick Fix, but like not as bad, surprisingly. This level, I don't know, doesn't seem that egregious to me. The floor might look a bit concerning, but that water is not deep enough to drown in. So it's totally fine unless you, like, increase the water level. This is an invisible wall in the actual mission, but not here. I've got to be honest, the only issue I can see is that, like, if you're teleporting in, then, yeah, you just end up on the roof. That kind of sucks. But other than that, this seems kind of fine. I'm feeling a 3 out of 5 on this one. There's also, like, a lot of cute little details on this one. Like, there's the, you got Worms Flakes, you got Wormade. Let me know in the comments if you would drink Wormade. I would drink all the worm. Man, it went... What a fucking cool house. Imagine having a, like, just Worms 3D wallpaper in your house. This cupboard's really bad. That's not really a cupboard. The one that actually has a shelf has no door on it. And the one with a door on it isn't even a cupboard, it's just kind of a hole. So... yeah, overall, pretty fucking sick house though. I'm sticking with that 3 out of 10. 3 out of 5, sorry. 3 out of 5. So, moving on to the challenge levels. Oh, hello, that's very nice of them. So, this is Shotgun Challenge 2, and you might notice I'm actually playing Shotgun Challenge 2. I'm not, like, playing on the map in, like, the multiplayer. Wow, I am ass. There we go. But yeah, I'm actually playing Shotgun Challenge 2. I'm not on, like, the map in the multiplayer mode, using mods or whatever. And that's because whoever made, like, the map pack, that like adds all the unused maps into multiplayer, they just didn't bother to add this one. And you know what? I totally get it. That makes perfect sense, because this map is boring as shit. It's literally just boat, and then like, how many planes is this? Like at least 5. Yeah, at least 5. So this is literally just Falling For You, but like the own brand version of it. Like, we have Falling For You at home. I'm about to run out of time and lose. Good. 1 out of 5, this shit sucks. Also, you might get the impression that, like, all the levels for these little challenges are really fucking boring. That's absolutely not the case. This is Jetpack Challenge 1. It's the, I believe, the only one of these levels that you can unlock in the base game. And guess what? It's really fucking cool. I really, really love this level. It's one of my favorites in the game. And yeah, it's unlockable in the base game, despite being, like, a goofy little challenge level. It's fucking great. I don't know what else to say. And speaking of challenge levels that are nice and good, this is Shotgun Challenge 3. It's pretty small, no denying that, but I gotta say, I think this is a really nice little level. I don't see anything wrong with this. It is small, but, you know, it's cute. I think there's some fun to be had with the fence and the flowers, you know, you maybe use that for cover, that could be nice and quirky maybe. You gotta love the bucket. You gotta love the bucket. The bucket is a fantastic feature. I don't know. It is a little small, but I think this is fantastic. So you know what? This is a 4 out of 5. It's a good-ass map. I should have been allowed to play on it. Good shit. Next up, we have some just well and truly wholly unremarkable garbage. This is Super Sheep Challenge 1, and it kind of sucks. It's just stuff. It's just stuff. It's just a bunch of, like, alien objects and alien assets. There's just completely nothing. Where's that island I was looking at? Where is it? Oh, there it is. I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess. I like how it's a circle. I like circles. But yeah, this shit sucks. 1 out of 5. Wholly unimpressive. Also, I couldn't help but notice that the other worm spawned inside of this spaceship. Let me help him out with that. Problem solved. You love to see it. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, though, this is Super Sheep Challenge 2. And, like, what the fuck, guys? I cannot believe that this isn't accessible in the base game for multiplayer. This is such a good map. Like, look at it. You're seeing the same thing I am. What about this looks, like, wrong? Realistically, what about this is, like, remotely problematic? Everything is pretty close together. I guess there's this one island, but, like, if you're there, you're a sitting duck. That's your own fault, right? Like, what about this is egregious in any way? It's just a cool little map. It's just a cool little map. And look, they even have a cool little boat. Look at that. How can you say no to this boat? And these sheds. It's fucking brilliant. And this dock, even. This, to me, is an easy 5 out of 5. What the fuck were they thinking? This is amazing. Also, it's just hitting me there. Is this our first 5 out of 5? This might be our first 5 out of 5. Which, if it is, that's pretty fucking cool. So yeah, amazing map. I rate this 5 wormies out of 5. Hooray. So next up we have Parachute Challenge 2. And some parts of this are pretty cool. Obviously you've got the penguins. These guys are brilliant. Truly something else. Oh wow, shit, they got a fucking walrus? That's badass. Now, most of this is fine. It's a little bit spread out. Some of these islands are pretty small. This is mostly fine. The problem is this just absolute fucking unit of a thing. It's so big that it's like, I don't even think you can get up to the top with the jetpack. Let's see, are we gonna make it there? Come on, surely. fucking hell. Just about. Just about. Yeah. If this was scaled down, like this entire, like, section over here, I could maybe see this working. That's a nice fella down there. Bet he's having a good time. But yeah, this is just a bit too big to work in the base game, I think. Also, I can't think of, like, any level in the base game that has this issue. But for some reason, this one has, like, some weird collision issues. Like, the collision doesn't entirely match the visual geography. Geography, is that the word for that? That's probably the word for that. It might just be because of just, like, how big this platform is, and because you would never really go back here. Happens over here too. In fact, if I remember correctly, it's a little bit worse. But yeah, this big old blob of a thing is the main problem. I'm gonna have to go with a 2 out of 5 on this one. Not feeling it. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting one. This is Jetpack Challenge 2. And yeah, it's literally just a Team 17 logo with a thing going around it. Those are the people who made the dang game. So that's pretty nice. Now, listen, I'm looking at this level, and you can kind of see there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of land. It's pretty small. And I get that that's kind of bad. But, hear me out. I think this should have been available for multiplayer. And I'll tell you why. I think this map, like being able to use it in the game's multiplayer, I think this would have been like the perfect reward for 100%ing the game. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like crazy or something, but like think about it. Like, this is kind of perfect for that like exact purpose, right? You've beaten everything the game has to offer, so as one last reward, you get what is essentially just like a thank you from the developers, right? Like, this obviously isn't the most ideal map for actual matches, but it's nice, it's charming, it's unique. But instead, this is just reserved for like one random challenge. It's not even the last Jetpack Challenge, it's Jetpack Challenge 2. So, honestly, because of that, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I think this would have been really cool, especially considering that there is no reward for 100%ing this game. You just unlock the last thing, and that's it. You don't get a message or anything. The game is just finished. Congratulations, go fuck yourself. But yeah, I think this would have been nice. So for this one, we are actually playing Jetpack Challenge 3, because for some reason when I tried to load this one in on the map pack, the game just crashed. But you know, it is what it is. This is Jetpack Challenge 3. And what's kind of neat about this one compared to like the other challenge levels is that you can just kind of explore this one at your own pace a bit, because the timer doesn't start going down until you collect this crate with the jetpack in it. And it's a bit bizarre, this one. It's like a prisoner of war camp, and there's like an introductory cutscene for like when you do this challenge, where like it explains the lore a little bit, and the worm you play as has a bit like of a flashback. It's a bit fucked up, but nonetheless, I used to really like exploring this one, and I think it's a good ass level. It's just nice. There's nothing about it that's like particularly like bad. I guess it's a little small, but that's not a big deal. It's just fine. Nothing about this level is that egregious. It's just cool. I mean, by prisoner of war camp standards, obviously those are pretty bad, but like, also if you worm your way all the way to the back of the map, there's this weird like little sort of kind of hole in the ground here. This used to drive me fucking demented when I was younger. I was like, there had to be more to this. There's got to be more to this. What the fuck's going on? But yet, nonetheless, this is a cool map. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5, not a 5 out of 5, mainly because it's a little bit small, and I think if you happen to spawn on that balloon over there, that could be a bit problematic. If you don't have a jetpack, you can't get up there without losing your turn, and like, I don't know, maybe they'd be hard to shoot down, but I just like this map a lot. It's neat. Now there's one more map exclusive to challenge mode, and it's a bit of an oddball one. Worms 3D has 10 deathmatch challenges, and they're just matches against like computer-controlled worms, not that much more to it than that. They generally just take place on maps that you play throughout the campaign, and they scale in difficulty. This is the first one, and it's a 4v4, but the enemy worms have slightly less health than your worms. And this is the last deathmatch challenge, and this one is a 2v10, because why the fuck not? However, for whatever reason, Deathmatch Challenge 2 has a completely unique map based on the Titanic. And, like, it's just a bit bizarre. I don't really get the point of this. It's a pretty cool map, too. Like, I would have kind of liked to be able to play on this. Is that a... Oh, there's a hole in the ship, too. That's kind of... Oh, geez, well, there's your problem. This is not safety rated for 2-compartment flooding. That's just a normal hole. But yeah, there's a little bit of the map missing there because this fucker on the boat decided, like, taking a chunk out of it. Oh, also the water's rising. I just... That would make sense. That would make sense. But yeah, this is a pretty cool map. It's kind of weird that it's here, but nonetheless, it's pretty cool. I'm going to give this one... You know what? I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I don't see what's wrong with it. I would have liked to play on it, honestly. So to wrap everything up, let's take a quick little look at the 3 named unused levels. This is Hide and Peek, and if I remember correctly, the full mission for this is left in the game's code. Like, I believe there's a way to access it, but no, yeah, this is just an unused mission within Worms 3D. I forget what the point of it was. I think you had to, I think it was like a I think it was a stealth-based mission, which sounds really fucking stupid and boring. Now, I kind of understand why they wouldn't want to include this. Like, just like, even if they're not going to use the mission, just having the map in multiplayer, right? Because there are some maps that don't show up in the campaign that appear in the game's multiplayer. Like, the thing with those levels is that they're very generic, so when you just see them in the, like, multiplayer selection, it's just like, yeah, whatever, these are levels that, these are just, like, whatever. But this one's a bit weird because of the big old fucking dragon. Like, if I saw this in the multiplayer lineup and nowhere else in the game, I'd be kind of confused. I'd be like, what the fuck is the deal with this? So, in that regard, I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's just a pretty decent map that I don't see anything wrong with. So, I would give it like a 4, but just because of the fucking absolutely bizarre theming, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. Adios. That's fucked up. I feel bad, actually. So next up, we have One Small Step. And it's kind of similar to, what's it fucking called? In Space No One Can Hear You Clean. Except instead of just, like, one planet and a bunch of garbage around it, there's one planet and, like, the garbage is a lot more condensed. Like, you've got a big-ass, like, space doohickey, and then you've got 2 little islands. It is a bit strange, no way around that, but I will say, I think this one is much better than in Space No One Can Hear You Clean. I much prefer this. You can see the jetpack being a little bit fucky just because of the altitude. But overall, it's not that bad. I definitely prefer this. And I don't think it would have been that out of place just having it in the multiplayer lineup and not appearing anywhere else in the game. You know what? I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. There are some weird-ass sounds next to this plant, but yeah, this seems like a fine map in my opinion. It's just very okay. 4 out of 5. And lastly, we have Worms Island. It's a relatively small level, but I think it's pretty fucking cool, honestly. It's kind of weird that, like, this smoke texture... Well, that's not really smoke, is it? It's just kind of like a cloud. It's kind of weird that that, like, isn't moving. That looks a bit jank. But despite the small size, I think this is a nice little level. There's not really anything wrong with it. And, like, it's kind of cute because it's got this little worm face on the front. That's kind of cool. These torches, I don't believe, are used anywhere else in the game, too. That's kind of nice. But yet, there's nothing super egregious about this one other than the fact that the volcano... Oh, that's a bit fucking janky. This is jank. This is undeniably weird. Yeah, this isn't very volcano-esque. What happens if I, like, blow this up? I can't see shit. Is man's dead? No, but he took a single damage. Oh shit, that's a hollow volcano. Yeah, that's weird as fuck. And the cloud is still there. You know what? Just because of the jank, let's go with a 3 out of 5. It aight. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this incredibly niche video on an incredibly niche aspect of an incredibly niche game that I just really needed to talk about because, I don't know, that's just the way I am. Hope you enjoyed. Also, just in case you're wondering how I'm playing on these maps, I'm just using a map pack that adds them into the multiplayer rotation, along with a lot of maps from Worms 4 and Ultimate Mayhem. It's really cool. A lot of work went into it, and there's some really cool custom stuff. There is this. I don't know who made that. Not here of my own choice. It's just in here. It's just in here. Alright. I don't know.